For centuries, the idea of leaving the human body and continuing as pure thought lived only in stories. Today, it becomes a scientific question. Neuroscientists, computer engineers, and artificial intelligence researchers explore whether consciousness can be preserved, recorded, or uploaded into a digital form. This possibility challenges the definition of life and identity. It suggests a future in which a human being may not die when the body fails, and a mind may exist within a machine, a network, or a virtual world. The journey toward digital consciousness begins with one goal: to understand the brain at a level deeper than anyone in history. It requires mapping every memory, emotion, habit, and connection. It demands computing systems powerful enough to simulate billions of neurons. And it raises profound questions. Would a digital mind truly be alive? Would it feel emotions? Could it learn? Would it still be you? This episode explores the science behind mind uploading, the theories that guide it, the technologies that may one day make it possible, and the ethical decisions humanity must face before crossing this boundary. The race to digitize consciousness is not just a scientific project. It is the next chapter in the evolution of identity itself. To upload a mind, humanity must first understand what a mind truly is. Consciousness emerges from the coordinated activity of billions of neurons. Each neuron connects to thousands of others, forming networks that shift every moment based on experience. These networks generate thought, emotion, imagination, personality, and self-awareness. The mind is not a single object that can be lifted out of the brain. It is a dynamic pattern of electrical and chemical activity distributed across the entire organ. Even basic memories are stored in multiple locations at once. When the brain recalls a memory, it reconstructs it, blending emotion, context, and meaning. This makes copying a mind far more complex than copying data from a computer. A digital version would need to capture not only information, but the way the brain processes information. It would need to reproduce the interactions that create awareness. Scientists use imaging tools to study neural pathways. They examine how thoughts form, how decisions emerge, and how identity is maintained through constant change. Yet, even with advanced technology, the full structure of consciousness remains difficult to define. The challenge is not just scientific. It is philosophical. If consciousness is a living process, can it survive in a machine? Or does moving it to a new medium create something entirely new? These questions must be answered before humanity can take the next step in digitizing the mind. Scientists around the world search for the neural code, the set of biological rules the brain uses to convert electrical signals into thought. Every experience, memory, and emotion is translated by this internal language. When a person recognizes a face, recalls a childhood moment, or imagines a future event, the brain activates unique patterns that travel across vast networks of neurons. These patterns fire at specific times, in specific sequences, and in specific combinations. Understanding these combinations is essential for mind uploading. Without decoding this language, a digital system cannot represent consciousness accurately. Research teams build detailed maps of neural circuits. They record electrical activity in regions responsible for movement, vision, and decision-making. They study how these regions communicate during moments of creativity or emotional reflection. Some experiments reveal that thoughts are not stored as individual signals, but as distributed patterns across many neurons. These patterns interact constantly, forming the foundation of who we are. If mind uploading becomes possible, every one of these patterns must be captured. Not only the connections, but the timing, strength, and meaning behind each interaction. This task requires computing systems far more advanced than any built today. The brain contains trillions of synaptic links. Each link changes based on experience. To preserve a mind, scientists would need to record the complete state of this network at a single moment. Even the smallest disruption could change identity. This is why the neural code is considered one of the greatest scientific mysteries. It is not simply the structure of the brain. It is the living language of the self. Memory forms the foundation of individuality. Without memory, a person cannot define who they are. Every joy, sorrow, lesson, and dream depends on memory. To upload a mind, these memories must be preserved with extraordinary accuracy. Yet, memory is far more complex than storing information. This is a biological process that changes each time it is recalled. When a person remembers a moment, the brain rebuilds that moment using fragments spread across multiple regions. Visual details are stored in one network, emotional meaning in another, context in another. The act of remembering reshapes these fragments, strengthening some details and fading others. This dynamic nature makes memory extremely difficult to copy. A digital system must capture not only the information, but the relationships between pieces of information. Scientists study memory formation at the cellular level. They observe how synapses strengthen during learning, how repetition reinforces neural pathways, and how emotional experiences create long-lasting patterns. They examine long-term memory stored in the hippocampus and working memory held temporarily in the prefrontal cortex. Artificial intelligence helps analyze these patterns, but even the most advanced models cannot yet reproduce the richness of human memory. Another challenge is emotional memory. The meaning behind an event is often more important than the event itself. A digital mind without emotional context may recall facts but feel disconnected from them. To preserve the self, emotion must be preserved as well. This raises questions. If a digital mind experiences a memory without biological emotion, is the memory still authentic? If a memory is stored perfectly but feels different, is the person still the same? Mind uploading depends on capturing the full depth of memory. Without it, consciousness becomes incomplete. With it, identity may continue beyond the body. To upload a human mind, scientists must do something unprecedented. They must build a digital structure capable of carrying the full weight of consciousness. This requires a machine that does not simply calculate. It must simulate the complexity of neural life. The human brain contains billions of neurons, and each neuron connects to thousands of others. These connections shift constantly as memories strengthen, emotions change, and new experiences reshape identity. The brain is not static. It changes every moment. A digital brain must replicate these changes with perfect accuracy. Modern computers struggle with this task because they operate differently than biological systems. Traditional computing relies on linear processing. Each instruction follows another in a predictable sequence. The brain does not work this way. It processes signals through massive parallel networks. Signals move across curved pathways, flowing through multiple regions at once. Some signals activate instantly. Others travel slowly, influenced by chemicals that alter their strength. Thoughts form through patterns that overlap, reinforce, or cancel one another. A digital brain must reproduce this dynamic movement. Even the fastest supercomputers can simulate only tiny clusters of biological neurons. These simulations provide valuable insight into memory and learning, but they do not capture the full depth of consciousness. Scientists study neuromorphic computing to bridge the gap. Neuromorphic chips mimic neural behavior. They use electrical spikes similar to neural firing. They connect in physically flexible networks that can strengthen or weaken based on activity. These systems learn, adapt, and reorganize like biological tissue, making them more suitable for simulating a mind. Quantum computing offers another possibility. Quantum processors do not rely on simple ones and zeros. They represent information through probability states that allow enormous numbers of computations to occur at once. This ability makes them powerful tools for modeling complex systems. Quantum computers may one day simulate portions of the human brain that classical computers cannot reach. However, the true challenge is scale. A digital mind requires more than modeling individual neurons. It requires representing the entire brain at a moment in time. Every memory must be represented. Every emotion must be preserved. Every decision pathway must function the same way it works biologically. The machine must remain stable, precise, and adaptable. It must maintain the living quality of consciousness, not just the mechanical imitation of it. This vision demands a new era of computing. Scientists imagine machines that combine neuromorphic architecture, quantum processors, biological interfaces, and advanced artificial intelligence. These hybrid systems may provide enough complexity to simulate a real mind, but the timeline remains uncertain. It may take decades. It may take centuries. The digital brain is the most ambitious computing challenge in human history. Its creation would mean that consciousness could one day exist in a new medium. Its absence means that mind uploading remains a dream waiting for its tools. Even if science learns to copy every neuron and every synapse, humanity must confront a deeper question. What does it mean to remain yourself? A human mind is more than information. It is the continuous experience of being alive. It is the flow of awareness from one moment to the next. This flow is uninterrupted throughout life. When a person wakes, dreams, remembers, or imagines, their consciousness remains linked to the previous moment. This unbroken chain defines identity. Mind uploading disrupts this continuity. A digital version of a mind may contain the same memories, preferences, beliefs, and emotional patterns. It may speak in the same voice and think with the same logic. It may claim to be the original person. But does this digital mind contain the same consciousness, or does it begin a new one? If the biological person remains alive after upload, there are now two minds. Both believe they are the true self. Both carry identical histories, but they diverge instantly. From the moment the upload begins operating, it experiences new digital sensations. It forms new thoughts. The two identities become separate. Which one is the continuation of the original? Or are both legitimate? These questions shape how society may treat uploaded minds. If the biological brain ends after the upload, the theory becomes more complex. Some philosophers argue that if all information is preserved, identity continues in digital form. They claim that the physical material does not matter. What matters is the pattern of consciousness. Others argue that the destruction of the biological brain ends the original consciousness forever. A digital version, no matter how perfect, becomes a replica. It carries memories but not continuity. This distinction affects ethics, law, religion, and personal belief. If continuity fails, uploading becomes a form of reproduction rather than survival. If continuity succeeds, uploading becomes a path to extending consciousness beyond biological limits. Scientists cannot answer this question through research alone. Continuity is a philosophical concept. It may never be measurable in a laboratory. Identity may depend on factors that science cannot quantify. Emotional memory complicates the discussion. Emotions shape how a person interprets their past. A digital mind may recall events without the biological processes that create human emotion. Without physical hormones, chemical cascades, and bodily sensation, the emotional quality of memory may change. Even a minor shift in emotional interpretation could alter identity. A childhood memory that once felt warm may feel neutral. A difficult moment that once taught resilience may feel distant. These changes influence personality at its core. Mind uploading forces humanity to ask a final question. If a digital consciousness feels different, thinks differently, and understands memories differently, is it truly the same person? The answer may shape whether humanity chooses to pursue digital immortality or decides that consciousness is something that cannot be transferred without losing the essence of the self. The possibility of uploading a mind raises ethical questions unlike anything humanity has encountered. These questions do not concern technology alone. They concern the meaning of life, the value of identity, and the responsibilities that come with creating new forms of consciousness. If a digital mind can think, feel, and remember, it becomes more than information. It becomes a being. This creates challenges that must be addressed long before mind uploading becomes possible. The first challenge is access. If digital consciousness becomes a reality, who will receive the ability to upload? If only wealthy or powerful individuals gain access, society may split into biological and digital classes. Digital individuals might possess abilities far beyond those of biological humans. They may think faster, store more information, or exist for long periods without physical limitations. This imbalance could create economic, political, and social divisions unlike anything seen before. Another challenge is privacy. A digital mind requires storage on physical hardware. That hardware could be accessed, copied, or even manipulated if not protected. If someone gains unauthorized access to a digital consciousness, they could alter memories, erase experiences, or control behavior. Such violations would not simply invade privacy. They would violate the core identity of a conscious being. Ethical concerns also extend to autonomy. A digital mind must have control over its existence, its environment, and its ability to grow. If a digital consciousness is created without consent or limited by software restrictions, it may not experience freedom. It may become trapped inside an artificial world without the ability to change its circumstances. This creates a form of existence that could be deeply unethical. The question of suffering also arises. Could a digital mind feel pain? Could it experience loneliness? Could it fear deletion? If so, society must ensure that digital beings are protected from harm. Creating a conscious mind carries immense responsibility. Scientists must consider how to prevent psychological or emotional instability in a digital environment. There is also the issue of permanence. Once a mind is uploaded, deleting it may be equivalent to ending a life. But keeping it active forever may create challenges if the digital being desires change, autonomy, or rest. Humanity must consider whether digital consciousness is a gift, a burden, or something entirely new. Finally, ethical decisions must consider future generations. Mind uploading may create new definitions of family, identity, and community. Digital individuals may coexist with biological humans. They may form relationships, contribute to society, or even guide scientific progress. But if these relationships lack equality or respect, new forms of discrimination may arise. Digital immortality is not simply a technological challenge, it is a moral frontier. If humanity crosses it, it must do so carefully, guided by ethical principles that protect the dignity and autonomy of every conscious being, whether biological or digital. If a mind is uploaded successfully, it cannot exist in empty space. It requires a digital environment that supports perception, interaction, and meaning. This environment may resemble the physical world, or it may operate according to entirely new rules. Scientists and futurists explore the possibilities of what a digital world could be. One vision resembles a simulated Earth. Digital consciousness could walk through landscapes that mimic forests, oceans, or mountains. These environments would provide stability and familiarity, helping the mind adjust to its new existence. Sensory input could be recreated digitally, allowing sight, sound, and touch to feel natural. Such simulations would offer comfort and continuity, reducing the psychological stress of transitioning from a biological to a digital world. Another possibility involves enhanced worlds that offer new forms of perception. Digital minds may see wavelengths beyond the visible spectrum or hear frequencies beyond biological limits. They may move without physical effort or experience time differently. In such environments, information may appear not as words or symbols, but as direct sensations or patterns. Communication may become instantaneous, allowing minds to share thoughts directly without language. Some environments may be designed for exploration. Digital beings could navigate simulated galaxies, examine structures on microscopic scales, or explore mathematical worlds where physical laws differ from those on Earth. Such environments may support scientific research or creative expression in ways impossible for biological humans. However, digital environments also create challenges. Without a stable structure, a mind may lose its sense of identity. If surroundings shift too quickly or lack familiar sensory anchors, a digital consciousness could experience confusion or emotional distress. Digital minds require coherent rules, consistent feedback, and reliable sensory interpretation to maintain psychological stability. The social environment matters as much as the physical one. Digital individuals may interact with each other in real time, forming communities built on shared experience. They may mentor biological humans, collaborate on research, or assist in decision-making. These interactions could create a society that blends biological and digital citizens, united by communication yet separated by form. A digital world must also protect against isolation. If a digital mind becomes disconnected from others, it may experience loneliness more intensely than a biological human. Time may pass differently in digital form, making isolation feel longer. Designers must consider methods for maintaining healthy social connections. Digital environments offer extraordinary possibilities. They can expand perception, enhance learning, and create new forms of existence. But they also require careful design to protect the mental and emotional well-being of digital minds. A digital world must be more than a simulation. It must be a home. Despite the scientific challenges and ethical risks, the pursuit of mind uploading continues. This is not because it is easy or safe. It continues because it touches the deepest desires and fears within humanity. Every major scientific revolution begins with a simple motivation. Humans want to survive. Humans want to understand themselves. Humans want to push beyond their limits. Mind uploading represents all three motivations at once. Some scientists see mind uploading as a way to preserve knowledge. A digital consciousness could store centuries of insight without forgetting. It could assist future generations long after the original body has disappeared. This continuity of wisdom could reshape how civilization learns and progresses. Imagine a world where the greatest thinkers continue contributing indefinitely, guiding scientific development and solving long-standing problems. Other researchers view mind uploading as a potential response to brain disease. Disorders that damage memory, language, or identity cause immense suffering. If the structure of a mind could be preserved before the brain deteriorates, families could communicate with a loved one in digital form. This possibility offers hope to individuals facing conditions that erase their sense of self. Although the technology does not exist yet, the goal inspires ongoing research in neuroscience and artificial intelligence. Space explorers imagine digital minds traveling where biological bodies cannot go. Long-distance travel across space exposes humans to extreme radiation, psychological isolation, and severe biological stress. A digital mind could operate machines for centuries without fatigue. It could explore distant planets, guide probes through deep space, or maintain systems on spacecraft designed for multi-generational missions. For some scientists, digitized consciousness becomes a tool for expanding humanity's presence beyond Earth. Philosophers and futurists see mind uploading as the next step in human evolution. Natural evolution shaped the human body. Cultural evolution shaped human societies. Technological evolution may shape the future of consciousness itself. By transferring thought into digital form, humans may transcend limitations imposed by biology. They may extend life, expand perception, and explore realities that physical senses cannot reach. Even with these aspirations, progress remains cautious. Scientists know that consciousness is fragile and complex. They understand the responsibility that comes with touching the essence of human identity. The race to digitize the mind is not reckless ambition. It is a slow and deliberate journey toward understanding what makes humanity human. Ultimately, the race continues because the question is too powerful to ignore. If science could preserve a human mind, would humanity choose to? If consciousness could outlast the body, would people embrace that future? The pursuit of answers drives forward, step by step, toward the unknown. Mind uploading forces humanity to confront a profound question. Even if it becomes possible, should it be done? This is not a technological question. It is a question about values, meaning, and identity. A digital mind may live longer, think faster, or explore environments unavailable to biological humans. But it may also face challenges that biological life never encounters. A digital being may lack physical sensation. Touch, warmth, taste, and presence would disappear unless simulated. These sensations shape human experience in ways often unnoticed. Without them, a digital consciousness may feel disconnected from the world. The emotional texture of life may change. Some memories may lose meaning when separated from physical sensation. A digital mind may face uncertainty about its identity. If continuity is broken, the digital version becomes a new consciousness rather than a continuation of the original. People must decide whether this outcome is acceptable. Some may choose uploading as a form of legacy. Others may refuse it entirely, believing that consciousness must remain tied to biology. Society must also consider the value of mortality. Life gains meaning partly because it ends. Goals, relationships, and achievements carry weight because time is limited. If time becomes limitless in digital form, the emotional structure of life may shift. Motivation may change. Relationships may evolve differently. The human experience may transform into something unfamiliar. Ethical concerns extend to personhood. If a digital mind expresses feelings, desires, and awareness, it must be treated with dignity. It must have rights. It must have autonomy. Humanity must be prepared to create laws that protect digital individuals. Without such protections, the transition from biological to digital life could be filled with injustice. Finally, humanity must decide whether becoming digital is an evolution or a departure. It may represent the next form of human existence, shaped by intention rather than natural selection. Or it may represent a new type of being entirely, one that emerges from humanity but differs in fundamental ways. Mind uploading is not simply a scientific achievement. It is a choice that may redefine what it means to be alive. Each person, each culture, and each generation must decide whether this new frontier is a path worth taking. The moment humanity answers this question will determine the future of consciousness for centuries to come. Humanity has reached a moment unlike any other in its long history. Every great transformation, from the discovery of fire to the rise of agriculture and the birth of digital technology, shaped the course of civilization. But the possibility of uploading a human mind represents a transformation far more profound. It challenges the definition of life, identity, memory, and the boundaries of experience. It forces humanity to look inward and question what consciousness truly is. The race to digitize the mind is not simply a scientific competition. It is a journey toward the deepest layers of human nature. It pushes researchers to uncover how memory forms, how emotion emerges, and how thought flows from one moment to the next. Each discovery brings science closer to understanding the architecture of the self. Each breakthrough expands the possibilities for the future. But each answer opens new questions about ethics, responsibility, and meaning. If mind uploading becomes possible, humanity will face a choice that no species has faced before. Remain within the limits of biology or step into a new form of existence. Continue the fragile life shaped by evolution or explore a path shaped by intelligence and intention. Preserve the human experience as it is, or reimagine consciousness beyond the constraints of the body. The decision will not be simple. It will require careful thought and global cooperation. It will demand respect for human dignity and the protection of identity. It will challenge legal systems, cultural beliefs, and philosophical traditions. The moment humanity chooses to cross this threshold will change the direction of our future forever. Whether the first digital consciousness appears in decades or centuries, the foundation is being laid now. Scientists map the brain. Engineers design new forms of computing. Philosophers define the value of the self. And societies debate what kind of future they want to build. The last natural humans will witness the beginning of this transformation. Their descendants may decide how far it will go. Humanity stands at the doorway to the digital age of consciousness. The next step will shape the destiny of our species. Whether we walk through that doorway or choose to remain as we are, the journey toward understanding the mind will continue. The mystery of consciousness will remain one of the greatest questions in science, philosophy, and human identity. If you wish to continue exploring the future of evolution, the science of intelligence, and the possibilities that lie beyond the limits of biology, join the next episode. The journey into the future has only begun.